There are days when I just do not want to get out of my pajamas at all. And I just want to have a people-free day and stay in bed and just hide for the day. Like, I call it caving. I call it going caving. I have regular caving days. But that's one thing that's really hard when you live in a caravan park, because at some stage, like soon, I've got to go out there and use the bathroom up the other end of the caravan park. And you can kind of get away with walking up and down in your pajamas if it's early in the morning, or if it's, at night after dark. But after about, like, I don't know, it's about 8:30 in the morning now, and I've just been lying in bed and watching YouTube videos and stuff, and I know I've got to go out there, and I just sort of stand in front of my cupboard, and I'm like, oh, what do I want to wear? I just want to wear something comfortable. And I think to myself, I'm probably going to come back and just put my pajamas back on anyway. I've been pretty busy. The last sort of week has been a lot of stuff going on, and on trains and up to the shops and things like that. Most days going busking, and I managed to make enough money to pay for my extra week here at the caravan park in Sydney. And I know, I'm about to hit the road again in a couple of days, so I'm very much into that conserve energy mode at the moment. I don't really want to, socialize or travel or deal with shopping centres or anything like that. So today's going to be a chill day. I really did want to go kayaking. My friend Carolyn from my tiny caravan, she came and visited me twice since I've been here, which is really nice. And the plan had originally been to go from here to Budgie, where she lives, and stay at the caravan park there. But of course, when I found out it was going to be school holidays, that kind of changed everything, because it gets really, really busy there during the school holidays. And I don't want to deal with school holiday crowds. And also the caravan park jacks their prices up. They call it peak season during holidays, so it's quite expensive. So I've decided not to stay there. So that's why she came to visit me here, which was really, really nice to see her. And it's meant that I can change the course that I take from here on. And but yeah, today I just wanted to talk about that, because I don't really mention that very often. You probably see me mostly being bubbly and outgoing and adventurous, but quite often, in order to be that way, I have to have a lot of downtime. And this is how I recharge my battery, so that I can be that person when I'm out there, doing things in peoply environments where there's lots of things going on for my brain to process. So I need to, for every social outing, high energy thing I do, I need to have, at least a few days to a week or so of downtime in preparation for the socialization that's coming up, and then usually at least a few days to a week afterwards. Stop scratching your ear, darling. To recover from that. So come here, you're just waking up too, Bubby. You're a sleepyhead. And that's just something that I've learned that avoids me getting frustrated, irritated, overwhelmed, exhausted, grumpy. It's just a necessary part of my life that I've learned just from experience that I have to do. So today is one of those days. Pajama days. Pajama days are my favorite days. And that's one thing I think to myself, like, if I did have an actual house, it would give me the luxury of that experience of not having to actually leave the house if I want to. Obviously I've got to go out and walk her twice a day, and I always do that. You like your little outie time, don't you? So we do that. But yeah, if I can have a day where I literally don't talk to another human being and have a conversation, even just random chit chat with my fellow campers as I'm going from here to there, or meeting, chatting, seeing people up at the bathroom, and it doesn't seem like much, and to most people that's just, normal. I don't think they find that exhausting, but it is actually really exhausting for me. I don't know why I find it challenging communicating. That sounds silly, doesn't it? A little chit chat, and I get to the point where I'm like, okay, I kind of want to end this now, but I don't know how. Like, I don't know how to say I gotta go without seeming rude, or I'm not actually interested in this conversation, or actually sometimes it's like I'm really not enjoying this conversation because it's, people are talking about things that I really have a problem with or don't agree with, whether it's racism or sexism or homophobia, or just people tend to incorporate a lot of putting other people down in some conversations, I've noticed, especially with travelers and caravanners. And I find that, I want to sort of say that's not acceptable. I want to say I don't agree with you. I don't like the way you're talking, but I don't. I just kind of smile and nod and, like try to veer the conversation into a different direction if possible. Or there's so many little things like that just, I find it difficult. I find it difficult communicating with people in a chitty chatty situation. So yeah, I really feel more comfortable in the safety of my own environment, in the happy vibe of my own environment, in the relatively happy vibe of my own head and my own thoughts, and just, yeah, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to say that chill time is important, and me time is important, and lazy days and rest days are really important to me, and that it's not always go, 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 even though it might look that way sometimes, because that's the part that I'm usually making videos and posting on YouTube. So this is Lisa's down day. I've just got this weird thing that happens, and I'm not sure if it's when I stay still for a certain amount of time. Like, if I stay still in one spot for too long, I start to feel really demotivated and lazy, and yeah, I'm just finding it really hard to motivate myself. Everything feels like a big effort. I'm feeling a little bit burnt out, and it's another beautiful day, and I should be out there busking, but I'm worn out. And the thought of hauling my trolley, like it's a huge walk up there, 1.2 kilometer walk with a trolley, it's exhausting. And maybe I'll only make $30. Like, I've ranged since I've been here between $30, $60, $55, $112. Like, it could be a really good day and it could be a really crap day. And if you do all that effort, by the time you get up there and set up and play for a couple of hours and then come back, it's like 4 hours, really, the whole thing. A 2-hour set is 4 hours worth of actual effort. And if you only make like $30 out of it, it kind of feels like, oh, that was a lot of work for $30, I mean, I really do need the money. When I have lived in cities before, I've gotten this feeling of just absolutely overwhelming exhaustion. There is a buzz. I mean, I'm not in the city itself, but just in a highly densely populated area, there's this constant like that I just hear all the time. And I know everyone used to say to me, I've had people that have lived with me, my children and things, think that I'm being silly when I say I can hear the electricity buzzing through the walls. I feel like I can feel electromagnetic frequencies like Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and all that kind of stuff. I'm so super sensitive to it that I switch everything off at night when I sleep. I switch off all the power points. Obviously the fridge has to keep running and the aircon keeps running. That's my white noise, basically. Even if it's just running on fan, the sound of that kind of blocks out the other sounds. Everything, sounds in the background, whether it's traffic or, and I've always said that this is one thing I love about living in a tin can. I live in an aluminium can, and it's basically like people call about the tinfoil hat people. I'm like a tinfoil house dweller because the aluminium around here does provide a certain buffering that I noticed when I had a caravan that was made out of fiberglass. I never slept as well in that caravan as I do sleep in my aluminium caravans. So there's something to be said for that. I've always had the most amazing sleeps in caravans, to the point where back in the early days of my caravanning, it was a kind of a joke amongst my caravanning friends. They'd come and shake the caravan to wake me up because they knew that I was just an epic sleeper, because it was the first time, when I actually lived in a house and then I'd go away in my caravan, I'd have the best sleep. So yeah, I don't know. It's weird to talk about being so super sensitive to stuff, and people go, "Oh, you're just being silly," and roll their eyes and sort of, "Oh, just Lisa's just being," I don't know. I don't even know what the word is to describe that feeling of people not really understanding how sensitive I really am to energy. I'm super sensitive to energy of any kind, whether it's the emotional energy of people around me, whether it's electronic energy around me, whether it's some kind of, I don't know, some kind of energy flowing. I seem to feel like I feel it all, and it does feel exhausting when there's just no filter on the inputs. And yeah, I don't know why I'm feeling like this. I really want to motivate myself. I think part of me is because I know that I'm about to hit the road, and there's part of me feeling like a little bit anxious about that, and I've definitely become more anxious about it since the huge catastrophe of the truck breaking down in the caravan. I'm still traumatized by that. It was absolutely devastating to me that happened, and it's put a fear in my head. When people used to people are always telling me how brave I am. You're so brave, and I've been doing this. I've been caravanning around by myself now, not full time. Full time for almost 5 years in this van, but I've been doing this for 15 years, I think it is now, or longer. And originally I had no fear because nothing really ever went wrong. But as things go wrong, it's a kind of a cumulative effect. When it is tough and you have a situation that you're not in a financial position to remedy immediately, and there's that panic state that comes on, it does make you more cautious when you go out. I'm not fearful of crazy people, or I'm not afraid of people so much. I'm very attuned to that kind of gut instinct in me that keeps me safe. I'm fearful of things going wrong, and maybe I'm just sitting here trying to work out, why are you feeling so tired? Why are you feeling so unmotivated to put myself out there? And maybe it has got something to do with what's happened recently with the violent incidents that have occurred in the last week. I must admit that when I went into the Westfield up the road here, because I needed to change my coins in the ATM coin machine, that involved me going up the escalators and actually entering into the shopping centre, which I don't like doing. I've always had a problem with the whole shopping centres. They just too much. And as I walked into the entrance, and luckily the bank, it's like you come in off the street, you go up one escalator, and the bank is right there at the top of the escalator, so I don't have to really delve into the depths of the shopping centre, thank goodness. But as I walked in the door, there was a guy, and he was probably in his 20s, and he kind of came in the front entrance at the same time. He was dressed completely all in black, a black like hoodie with black baggy pants and a black backpack on, and he was wearing a full like fitted black mask over his face. And nobody really much wears masks in shopping centres anymore, so I thought that was unusual. Like, it wasn't like a just, you know, like a surgical mask that sometimes people wear. It was full. It literally just was covered like half of his face. And I went to get up on the escalator, and he kind of motioned to me that I could go ahead. And it was weird, because this is how, you know, why things become terror incidents. It's not necessarily whether or not that person had an ideological intent. It's whether or not it causes the general public to fear going about their normal daily business. And for a brief moment there, when I was standing on the escalator and this guy was right behind me, my heart kind of skipped a few beats, because there was this thought of, what if? You know, and I really rationalized that in my head. It's like, no, don't think that. You know, he's just a young guy going about his day. Like, how awful to assume that somebody has ill intent. That's not the mindset I want to be in. So I really consciously kind of focused on positive, you know, keep my little protective bubble around me and everything's going to be okay. But when I got to the top of the escalators and saw that the one ATM that counts coins was out of order, I was actually kind of relieved to just turn around and go straight back down the down escalator and get out of there. Maybe that's got something to do with the reason I don't want to go out there. You know, I've got to go out there and get on public transport and walk through busy areas, and just standing in front of people. And I had a lady come up to me the other day. She was really lovely after I was packing up from busking, and we talked about all sorts of things. And because she was asking about Pixie, like the assistance dog, you know, why do you have the assistance dog, and how did you go about getting that, and what's involved in that? And I was explaining it to her, you know, that you have to have a diagnosed disability, and the doctor writes a letter to say why a dog will help you, and then you have to have a task trained to certain things that will alleviate your disability and make it easier for you to get around in the world. And then you have to have it do a public access test, which means that it has to know certain commands and rules. It doesn't bark, it ignores other dogs, it sits quietly under your chair when you're at a restaurant or on public transport. It basically remains as inconspicuous as possible, and it has to be well behaved, and it has to go to the toilet only on command, not just wherever. You know, certain rules to make it not be a nuisance in public places, and you have to pass that test every year. It gets reassessed, and every 3 years you've got to go through the whole process again and get the letter from the doctor again, and they have to be vet checked and immunized and registered, and all the heartworm and parasite treatments kept up to date. Like, it's quite a process. So yeah, she was really nice, but she said to me, you know, she asked about, and I explained to her, you know, I have been diagnosed with autism, I have PTSD, I have complex PTSD, I have recurrent depression, and I have anxiety. And she said, well, how do you do this? How do you stand here in front of people? And she goes, play your music like that? That's so brave. And I was like, I don't actually mind this, because when I'm playing my music, I'm so in my own zone that I'm not super conscious of everything else around me, except that every now and then, you know, I get some thumbs up and some money in my tin and some nice compliments. I love the way you play. Oh, you sound really great, you know, and that kind of keeps me going. I love doing it. I really do. But there is a huge amount of anxiety involved in that, because I have been also told, you're too loud, you can't play here, you know, move on, or you're annoying, or you know, I get picked on a lot as well. So there's a huge amount of anxiety. It's more to do with the fact that as long as I'm getting positive feedback and people keep putting money in my tin, then I feel like brave enough. But I'm also fearful of the possibility of being picked on and somebody telling me that I'm annoying them, so which is not something I want to do at all. So yeah, if you see me out there busking, there is a huge amount of anxiety that I have to overcome just to feel confident. It's different when I'm in places like at the Minyip Car Show. They asked me to come and play. They had emailed me when I was in Queensland, like messaged me and said, hey, we really want you to come back and play saxophone, because I've done it, a few years there now. And I was like, yeah, I would love to. I've been invited. I've been asked to play. I've had gigs like that at restaurants. I've got one coming up at a caravan event. They want me to play. If I'm wanted and it's in a place where I'm in a designated position and everyone knows what I'm doing there, I'm fine with that. I'm having a ball. That is ideal for me. But just walking into a new place on a street and just setting up and go, and it takes me about half an hour to set up and then play my music, that's hard. That's scary. So if I find a spot and it's good and nobody's moved me on, I'll probably go back to that spot over and over again until I leave wherever I am. And so far here it has been really good. But I really wanted to go play down at Sydney Harbour, and I have got this fantasy of standing in front of that opera house and playing my saxophone. You do need a permit to do that, and I spoke to another busker when I was out last time, and he said, don't worry about it. He goes, I know lots of people that go down there busking and they don't have a permit. Like, worst comes to worst, they tell you to move on. And I'm thinking, yeah, that's my biggest fear, and is it worth applying for a permit when I'm only here, for a couple of weeks? So, well, not even now, it's pretty much the end of my time here now. Anyway, I'm feeling frustratedly overwhelmed with my own existence. And yeah, whenever I have days like this where I don't want to come out of the caravan at all, and I don't want to get dressed, and even the effort of working out what to wear seems way too overwhelming to me, let alone putting myself out there and working. Essentially, it's how I work, because I can't get enough on disability to survive. And when you can't get motivated and you feel stupid, it makes me feel, what's wrong with you, Lisa? Get your shit together. You can do this. You've done it a million times. It's okay. But I'm not feeling okay at the moment. And I'm not depressed. I'm emotional at the moment because I'm frustrated with myself, and I want to get out and do things, and I want to experience life. But anyway, I just guess for some reason I wanted you to see that behind the scenes, I do struggle with life a lot, and I'm always working to improve that, whether it's through my diet, which has helped a lot. I mean, being on the carnivore diet has definitely reduced the amount of sensory irritation and frustration. It kind of has calmed that a little bit. It's made my brain definitely work a lot clearer and have more energy in general, and I'm thankful for that. My psychologist appointments, where we can, debrief on how I've been doing for the last couple of weeks and any issues that may arise and things that are coming up for me, that helps a lot. I watch a lot of YouTube videos about, dealing with the issues that I'm dealing with, listening to other people's stories of how they navigate the disabilities that I'm living with. Thankfully, my rheumatoid arthritis is under control at the moment, thanks to the carnivore diet. So at least I'm not dealing with physical disabilities at the moment. It's mainly the mental stuff that I'm struggling with, and that will be a lifelong battle. There's no doubt about that. So Yeah, I am mostly optimistic about life. Sometimes the effort, I think the effort of living on the road full time, the effort of having to pack up, having to move on, having to, I mean, I don't know, I guess I compare it to, at the moment, I'm helping my daughter. We've been looking online for places to rent. She's looking at the possibility, of renting a place and looking at different options, like where's a good place to go, where's the cheaper rentals, that kind of logistics element. And as I'm doing that with her online and looking at different options, I'm realizing that, most people who do that, who rent a house, probably only have to do that every couple of years. I mean, I don't know, hopefully longer than that. Some people have a place that they've been living in for years and years and years and years. If you own a house, you might have been there for 20 something years. I don't know. But, rentals, generally, you get the best possible place that you can afford, and then 6 months later the rent goes up or whatever. When I was a renter, I had to move pretty much every 6 to 12 months, depending on how long my lease was. That was hard. That was stressful. Now, imagine that every couple of weeks or every month if you're lucky. I'm constantly doing that. I am constantly on Google Maps, Wiki Camps, looking up, reading reviews. Where's a good place to stay? Oh, that place has got, bad reviews. I won't go there. Okay, maybe I'll change my course. What about how do I get from here to here? What's the best route with the most cheap camping options? How long do I want to stay there? How long before I have to be somewhere else because I've committed to a certain event or catching up with a friend or family? Or it is constant. My brain does not switch off on any one day of thinking about where I'm going next and how I'm going to get there. And then, the whole packing up, hitching up, rolling out, doing it again. I actually quite enjoy being on the road. I think part of the reason I like being on the road and moving is because the pack down and setup part is fairly minimal. I don't tend to put my awning out. I leave the kayak on the back of the truck. There's the Blue Eddy power pack stays down there on the ground, and it doesn't come up here and end up being part of a shelf display. Like there's not a lot of moving things around, and if I can stay hitched up and find a site where I can roll in and stay hitched up because I'm only there for a day or two and roll on the next day, that's a lot easier for me. Being on the road and sitting in my car and driving and looking at beautiful scenery, that's easier for me. So the hard part is just working out where am I going to go, how long am I going to be there, how long is it going to take, how much petrol am I going to need, how much is that going to cost, how much can I afford to spend on camping. There's a huge amount of brain power that I focus into the fact that I am a nomadic human being with no place to call home. That's the reality of my situation. So there's a low level of anxiety constantly in my life, I guess is what I'm saying. And that's before we even go into the complex trauma stuff. The fact that I have certain issues with the way my brain works, social issues with the way I communicate with people, and the difficulties that goes into that, and how my brain just runs like into so many places that probably make life a little exhausting as well. So yeah, I don't want to put a downer video up because life is wonderful and I am relatively content with my little space here, but I am just, I don't like asking for help, but I genuinely need it sometimes. And busking is the way I support myself without having to ask other people to help. I don't like doing that, but I do need help. And YouTube has been amazing. I only finally just got monetized, and I think I've made a total of $30 in the last month on YouTube. I don't get paid until it gets to $100, so I'm, you know, keen for that. But I also don't want to get sucked into this feeling of having to create content because I'm chasing that as a source of income. Like it's the icing on a cake. It will really help me. You know, I get paid per 1,000 views, a certain amount. That changes depending. Something that really kind of bugs me though, you know, I don't get a lot of views on my videos. I'm not some young hot thing living the, you know, fantasy hashtag van life. I'm an older woman with issues doing it my way. I don't really stand out in that regard. But one thing that I was really quite shocked by was how the video that I put with the Living the Dream video, where Charlie and I were camped by the river, and they got like something like, I think it's up to 3,800 views. I don't know, something ridiculous. And normally when I look at my analytics, I go, well, why did that video do so great? You know, I don't understand. I've had other videos do really great, like the interior tour of my caravan did really, really well. I think that's had like 17,000 views, which is kind of cute. I'm like, oh, people like my caravan. That's kind of nice. I really like it too, so I'm glad you like it. But that one video really spiked. Now, my normal analytics show me that generally speaking, 75% of people that watch my videos are women and about 25% are male. The age group seems to be over 55 plus. So it shows you, I think it's 55 to 64 and then 65 plus or something like that. They break it down into demographics. And generally speaking, most people that are watching this are in those two older age brackets, and mainly women. And then I noticed on that particular video, all of a sudden there was this complete flip, and it was like something like 85% to 90% that watched that particular video were men, compared to, you know, 20-something% women. And then I realized it was because I put a photo on the thumbnail of me standing in a bikini when I, you know, came out of the river. Now, and then when you can watch on the analytics, you can actually watch on the video how much people were watching. And I noticed that the actual watch time on that video was a lot less than my normal videos get, even though the views were higher. And you can see they tune into the first 30 seconds sort of thing. There's usually a high mark, and then it drops suddenly. And as the video went along, and then all of a sudden there was a spike. It was me swimming in a river. That actually got to me. I felt actually saddened by that. I felt like, oh, like, you guys, come on. Like, I'm so much more of a human. I'm doing so many more interesting things than swimming in a river in a bikini, like that was just like one snippet of my life, and that was why you tuned in, and that was why you watched. I don't know. I thought to myself, wow, are we still really in a world that does that will, anyway, it did get to me. I didn't appreciate it. The video made me like $12 just on one video bonus, even though people only watched like a couple of minutes of it. It's, I guess maybe I should be flattered that a 55-year-old woman in bikini is something that dudes want to watch, but it kind of grossed me out because I don't want to be watched because I'm a 55-year-old in a bikini. I want you to watch me because my life is interesting and challenging, and because of me, because I'm an interesting human being. I think I'm an interesting human being. I hope I'm an interesting human being for more than the fact of what my body looks like. That's something I used to deal with when I was younger. I don't want to be dealing with that now at my age. People might say, well, don't wear a bikini. Hey, I'm proud of my body. I am proud of it. I'm proud of the fact that I've, worked at keeping fit and healthy in every way possible, mentally and physically. I'm proud of that. But yeah, please support my channel because you like me as a human. That would make me feel so much better. So yeah, anyway, this is probably enough ranting from me, and every now and then you're going to see the raw, unedited background, Lisa's head stuff, and it's important for me that YouTube gives me the opportunity for people to see and acknowledge and understand and hopefully relate to that part of me. The part of me that most people don't on the surface see is something that YouTube has allowed me to express, because I can talk like this to the camera and yeah, I'm not feeling judged. I'm not feeling concerned about whether or not I'm saying the right thing, or whether I'm oversharing, or is this too much, or should I shut up now? Am I making people feel awkward? If you feel awkward watching this video, you can just switch it off, and I don't have to deal with that. So YouTube has really been helpful for me, and I know there's some people close to me in my life that don't appreciate me sharing the raw, hard stuff. They prefer me to be happy and shiny all the time, because somehow I guess they think that me and my situation reflects on them. I don't really know, but the worst critics are the people closest to me, and the best support have been the random strangers. So that's why I'm here, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. So I really love you guys. I really appreciate you, and yeah, I will get back on the road and post some more stuff, but I've been feeling even a little bit unmotivated about that at the moment. The energy that takes. I just need my energy for me at the moment. So I hope you all understand, and if you can relate, and if you can reassure me that I'm not a complete weirdo, I'd really appreciate that too, because I don't have anyone around me giving me positive reinforcement in my life, like in a physical sense. And I'm appreciative of my friends who I do get to see from time to time, but there's nothing consistent in that. I only see my friends when I travel to see them, and yeah, that's obviously not all the time. 90% of the time it's just me here by myself doing my own thing, and my beautiful little dog Pixie Angel, who is my lifeline ashore. So anyway, I hope you guys are having a great day. I love you all. Mwah. Thank you. Bye.